Gabrielle Cummings. I am a teacher, and I'm pleased to have you on this program as we discuss issues that our young people face in our society today.
Hi, I'm Sean Singh, currently unemployed, and I'm ambitious about holding public office.
My name is Devika Utram. I'm a finance student at the University of Ghana, and I'm also employed in the financial sector. Mr. Ali, we're very pleased to have you in our midst today. My first question to you is, the present administration has promised youths a seat at the table, that is, youth participation in governance. However, we can see that this is a major failure. How do you plan to address this?
Thank you very much, Devika. That's a very pointed question. Indeed, the present administration made a lot of promises to young people, and one of the promise was a major stake at the table of governance and leadership in our country. And this administration has indeed failed in relation to this promise. But I just want to take you back a little to when the People's Progressive Party Civic was in government. And you can examine our track record in terms of youth participation in governance, and not only at the political level, but at the technical level. I myself came through the State Planning Secretariat, and I can tell you, many young persons made up the staff complement at the State Planning Secretariat. And not only that, many young persons moved on from there to become PSs and REOs and so on. So young people, our population is a very young population. Youths make up a large segment of our population. And we have to be able to harness them. We have to be able to harness that potential and give opportunities for this potential, not only to grow and to get experience, but also to make a meaningful participation in the leadership, in the governance, and in the administration of our country. And you will see in the People's Progressive Party Civic list of candidates to begin with, a lot of young faces. And as our track record will show, you will see a lot of young persons in government, in parliament. If you look at the parliamentary opposition now, you will see many young persons below the age of 40, many persons below the age of 40, and even more below the age of 45, and a number of persons below the age of 35, and I think we still have in our 20s there in Parliament. I myself went to Parliament in my 20s. So we have a track record in terms of youths being involved, and this would continue, and you would see even greater participation. We also have an emerging sector, oil and gas sector, that would require a lot of brain power, a lot of new training, and we will be targeting young people to ensure that they are empowered, they are trained to take on this sector, to take on new and emerging opportunities that would be created in our country.
I'd like to touch a little bit on crime. Young people are fearful about crimes that are ongoing. What can you do, or how can you tackle the crime situation?
Well, crime is a major issue in our society that drives a number of people away from our country. If you look at a number of persons who would have migrated, great potential, many young people with great potential, great training, migrated, and they will tell you that it's either because of job opportunity or the crime situation. Many young people would have lost their lives. And I'm not only talking here about the victims, but we also have to have a program that is structured in swaying young people's minds away from crime, away from going in the wrong direction. And to do this, we have to invest in our education system. We have to also invest in at the community level, at the family level, to ensure that we have positive messaging, that young people are not only given opportunities, but they are involved in the development of society. They are meaningfully occupied in terms of the economic well-being of our country. And then also we have to protect young people. A lot of young persons, we had the sad case of a young bank employee a few years ago losing her job. We have many young people today who are robbed on a daily basis, and it affects them psychologically. So we also have to ensure the streets are safer, the community are safer, and we have to do this through the use of ICT. We have to have greater intelligence gathering, greater community participation in crime fighting, and the involvement of young people themselves in the security forces, and having them seeing a career in the joint forces, whether it's the Army, whether it's the police, whether it's the fire service, as one that is meaningful, as one that they can achieve their economic well-being and have a positive family life with careers in these areas. And that has to come through improved training, improved wages, improving conditions of work, and also a more positive outlook on how we demonstrate these opportunities in our society.
So, Mr. Ali, you mentioned that education is a sector that you're intending to invest in. So my question to you is, what are your views on universal secondary education?
Well, first of all, education is an important roadmap in creating opportunities for young people to advance their career, but also the education system itself must not be designed to throw young people out of the system itself. And I speak here about the grade 6 assessment, I speak here about school dropouts and so on. Our education system must be multifaceted. It must create opportunity for youths and young people at every level, and to harness their skills, and to some people are not they're not inclined to mainstream education, but they're very inclined to technical education. And I'll come to that a bit. But you know, under the People's Progressive Party civic government, we achieved universal primary education. And universal secondary education is critical. And that is ensuring that all our children, all our young people have access to secondary education regardless of their social status, regardless of which area you are from, especially for our hinterland youths and riverine youths. I was fortunate to visit communities along the Demerara River. And many young people there, they stop at primary school because there is no opportunity for them to advance to secondary school. They have to get into a hostel or get to some relative that would keep them for the years that they will go to secondary school. And this has proved to be difficult to many families there. So universal secondary education is about ensuring we build enough physical infrastructure. But very importantly, too, we have to ensure we have the right number of teachers trained and well-equipped, teachers who are willing to work in the hinterland communities. And you know, many teachers are talking about the difficulties in working in these communities under this government. They have removed the allowance that we give them as an incentive to go to these communities. So we have to train more teachers. We have to get more young people from the hinterland and riverine areas themselves to be interested in the teaching profession and to see themselves as having a career. Many young people in these areas also would tell you that unlike the teachers on the coast who have a greater access to university education, they don't, because there is no university in those areas. But what we have to do is ensure that we build the ICT platform in such a way that it creates the opportunity for them to, through distance education and online education. So a teacher in Lethem can have access to a university degree in education or in English or in mathematics, just like a teacher from the coast. Because their career and their progression also in the field depends on their own educational upliftment.
Extending on the issues of teachers and not having their allowances, etc., there is currently an issue where some teachers from the year of 2016 have been underpaid. So how do you intend to rectify this issue? There are over 100 and something teachers who have this issue, and they're not being sorted out. So how do you intend to fix this problem? As a young teacher yourself, I am sure that salaries and benefits is something that is very critical for you. And I would say that over the years in the People's Progressive Party civic government, we have continuously improved the salaries and benefits of teachers.
whether we linked it also not only to salary but non-salary benefits, that is, develop special housing program for teachers, ensure that we do things that would help them with their children, whether it's daycare centers, because teachers also have children. And when they go to teach, sometimes they do so at the sacrifice of their own children. I remember growing up in a home where my mom and my dad were teachers. And when they're out at school, we have to have someone home taking care of us. So teachers themselves have other needs that we have to address. And if you have a proper healthcare system, you have a transportation system that give them effective transportation, give them benefits in terms of duty-free. And these are things we did in the past that we have to enhance and do it in a more macro scale. Access to housing, ensure that they have good treatment and preferential treatment in low-income loans to build their homes. So these are some of the non-salary benefits that we have to advance, and we will advance. Also, with oil and gas, teachers, nurses, members of the joint services, police, men and women in uniform on the whole, these are areas that we have to address in terms of salaries. So salaries is critical, and one of the things that you will see in our manifesto, and I urge you to read our manifesto. You will see in details the plan that we have for all segments of our population, is to move the income tax threshold to $100,000. That would make more disposable income available to persons. So these are some of the things that we plan, and yes, we'll be addressing the salaries and non-salary benefits of teachers.
So you mentioned the raise of the threshold and having more disposable income for our working class citizens in Guyana.
Yeah.
So we were promised free education. However, our tertiary institution has went through various stages of increased fees over the past 3 years. So what are your views on that, and how could your intervention assist the Guyanese public?
It's a very, very important question. And what we have seen is that the empowerment of young people, empowerment of Guyanese as a whole, has really been, their position in life has been eroded, not only because of the increases we are seeing at the University of Guyana in the fees, that is inhibitive to many programs, many young people even attending university, but we have also, and their promise was free education. We have seen all the new taxes, the increases in transportation costs, all of these things adding to the hardship that young people are faced with, whether at the level of the household, the level of their jobs, or the university. And we have made it very clear, I see that the government has now jumped on it, that within our 5 years in government, we're going to make university education free. And not only make university education free, but ensure that it's accessible to all through investment in distance education and online education. This is something that we are committed to. This is something that will improve the prospects for young people.
Mr. Ali, what are your plans for opportunities, especially job creation for young people, those who have just completed the University of Guyana or who have just written their CSEC examinations?
Yeah, it's a very important aspect of development for young people. But there are a few things that I want to speak about in terms of ensuring that our young people are prepared to benefit from the spin-off of oil and gas and the creation of new sectors and so on. So we have to ensure that young people have the right training, that we invest in technical education that will give them the competence and the certification that will allow them to benefit from opportunities that arise from this sector and other sectors that will emerge as a result of oil and gas. That itself will create a number of jobs. But our target is to create 50,000 jobs. We have to put back those 2,000 CSOs, Amerindian young people who are working as community support officers. We have to put them back to work. The more than 17,000 jobs that has been lost in the forestry sector and mining sector, we have to ensure we get those jobs back and put back those persons to work, whilst we create new jobs also. And these jobs will be created through investments in housing, through investment in the different sectors, and the creation of opportunities as a result of the building of infrastructure, the building of new growth poles, and the opening up of new opportunities for Guyanese. The investment in ICT, industrial park, and we have to also create a national entrepreneurship program where we can identify young people with great business ideas, great potential. A lot of young people would like to become entrepreneurs, but it's inhibitive for them because of capital. It's difficult for them to access capital. So we have to develop a national entrepreneurial program that not only look at equipping them with the knowledge and the skills, but also pointing them into the direction of low-cost financing and access to capital to help them to start up small businesses, small and medium-sized businesses. We also have to look at ways in which, and you're going to see all of this in our manifesto, ways in which we can direct young people to the agricultural sector through agribusinesses, agri-support services, ensuring that we make agriculture more attractive, give special incentives and motivation for them studying agriculture at the University of Guyana, and also get them in the fields, because there is great potential for them to become, for agriculture to become economically viable, and for them to have a prosperous future in the fields. And how do we do this? We have to do this through the creation of incentives, through investment that would reduce the cost of energy, that would lead us into processing, more packaging and so on, that would demonstrate to young people that there is much more beyond planting in the fields in terms of agriculture. But we have to create the infrastructure, the enabling environment that would help them, that would motivate them to go into this direction. So you'll be seeing a lot of investment in that area too, that will generate tremendous opportunities for young people.
In the rural areas, the sugar estates has been closed. What will you do about that situation?
Not only the sugar estates, but I want to say to you that in the mining communities, because of the contraction that's taking place in mining and forestry, a lot of young people are feeling the effect. And what we have to do in these areas, first of all, we have to get back these sectors going. We have to get the sectors working for Guyana again. We have to get these sectors working for young people again, creating opportunities for them. So we're going to reopen the estates. We're going to ensure that we create an enabling environment for new investment in mining sector, in the forestry sector. And we're going to empower persons through fiscal incentives, whether it's a waiver of taxes and giving them greater access to capital that would recapitalize them to go back and invest in the sector. But in terms of sugar itself, we're going to reopen the estates. Well, you know, Wales is difficult because they have sold out the assets there, and they have they did a number on the people of Wales, and now they're moving on the lands. So we have to, and we are already looking, you will see in the manifesto, we're going to identify specific opportunities for the people of Wales, but we also have to support the people. And we said that in areas where the time lag is going to be long in terms of getting back those estates going, we have to subsidize their existence so that they can have opportunities in retraining and reskilling and retooling to function in other segments of the economy. And those are things you will see in the next PP civic government, and you will see it demonstrated in our 2019 manifesto. But central to that question also is facilities that Gaisuku would have been maintaining in some of these rural areas that are no longer there: drainage and irrigation, health services, sports facilities. Those are things that we'll have to we'll have to invest in across the country. We have to have, and I want to address this. You didn't ask this, but it can lead to this. We have to ensure that we invest in sports academy throughout this country. We have great potential, great talent that we are not able to tap because our system does not allow us to identify these potential. In the hinterland communities, you have young people canoeing from the time they're 3 years old. How do we ensure we develop that skill to one that can be of international standard and give them a career, give them opportunities? So we have to look at sports academy, the development of sports academy, and investment in sports, the sports architecture and the sports infrastructure that would give young people an opportunity to explore their talent in this area. And also it helps in community life, it helps in building relationship, it helps in advancing the way they work and live together as young people. I can give you my own personal example. if I did not had the opportunity to go to St. Stanislaus College, I would have never seen what a badminton court looked like, or a badminton racket, or a squash court. I never knew there was something like squash, a game called squash, or a lawn tennis court, or to hold a basketball, or play volleyball, because the investment were not diversified to all the areas. So we have to ensure that all the areas, all our regions, benefit and have access to these facilities.
Mr. Ali, you just mentioned that had it not been for the opportunity of attending a particular institution, you would not have known about certain sports facilities, etc. Now, in terms of our brothers and sisters in the hinterland, how could you find a way to include them in these activities? And will there be scholarships that will also assist our students when it comes to sports?
That's an important question, but I want to move it beyond sports. First of all, I'm very happy that you raised the question of our hinterland children, because whatever we do, whatever opportunities are created must be for all Guyanese. And geographic location must not be a barrier to the opportunities. And this is linked directly to the creation of infrastructure. We have to have the infrastructure that would enable us to reach all Guyanese. And that is why investment in ICT is so critical in creating that opportunity. But also, we have to look at creating TVET centers beyond the coastal regions, because we have a lot of young people with great technical talents that drop out of school. But we have to harness that technical potential. And the only way we can harness that is if we have the opportunity or the infrastructure that we can bring them together and train them in particular areas that would be of need in our economy, so that they are not only trained, but they are trained with the empowerment of having a job. So that is key and critical for us. And ICT, investment in ICT not only as a tool to reach people, but as an opportunity to create jobs. Because if we can bring down the cost of energy and bring down the cost of bandwidth, which we have to do and we will do, then more and more our destination will be attractive for call centers. And call centers create great opportunities as an add-on income, not only as a mainstream income. Right now, for many in Guyana, it's a mainstream income. But the call center business has evolved in many countries as what you call an add-on income, an addition to the family income. So you have housewives, many housewives, who are not employed, but they can work in a call center, whether part-time, and they can earn. Students going to university, students going to technical institutes, young people themselves, and this add on to their family income, and it improves disposable income and gives you greater opportunity to access more services. So ICT has tremendous potential for tourism. It has tremendous potential for the improvement of healthcare services, and even the sale as an export commodity, because we plan on working on two streams. Whilst we fix the existing, we have to leapfrog Guyana into a future that will give us a sustainable pathway. We have to invest in high-end healthcare whilst we fix the primary healthcare. And the high-end healthcare has to be linked to an economic output that would create healthcare and health facilities and educational facilities as an export commodity. I don't know if you're familiar with Grenada and St. George's University and the impact that is having on the economy. So we have to make this a destination that is attractive for institutions like these, because it creates an economic growth and economic wealth, whilst at the same time it brings in earning as an export earner for our country. So these are things that would require investment in the healthcare system, investment in our the physical infrastructure of our country, and also addressing issues of crime, making our country a safe environment in which people will want to invest, and creating opportunities for many young people. So yes, young people in the hinterland and riverine areas, particular and specific attention must be paid to ensure that they too are involved in the process and benefit from the process, and you will see that in the manifesto. The issues of scholarship is very important. You know, we had a special scholarship program for hinterland children. That will continue and be expanded. But our scholarship program also has to be expanded. And with revenue from oil and gas, we'll be able to send more of our young people to be trained in particular areas that is of need in the economy as we move our country forward. Because there will be a period where there will be a gap in the competence and the skill set that will be needed as against what is available. So we have to ensure that we start the process of identifying that gap and training our young people to fill that gap, not only for now, but anticipating the growth and having the skills. That's why I said we have to work on two parallels. One, fixing the existing skills gap, whilst we identify the future human resource that will be needed and start training for that future need. Our scholarship program is critical in achieving this.
Having completed my CXC examinations, myself and other youths, right, would like to know what would our future look like. Having now you cannot secure a job.
Well, I think every young person wants to know that they will live in a safe environment in which they can fulfill their dreams, their career dreams, whilst having a good economic and financial position in our society. Right. And that comes from creation of jobs. So you want jobs, you want to be safe, you want to have good access to education, you want to have your facilities that would give you a good quality of life, health, sports facilities, and so on. These are things that we're going to invest in heavily. You're going to see in the 2019 manifesto. So I want to assure you that we're going to create opportunities for you. We're going to ensure that our technical education, that investment in young people will be geared towards empowering them to get jobs. We're going to rebuild sectors that are ailing, rebuild sectors that has been devastated by this government. We're going to recreate opportunities in these sectors whilst we build newer sectors and new opportunities in the future, and providing you with the educational training that is required to function in those opportunities.
Mr. Ali, come 2020, Ghana will be seeing a massive influx of wealth generated from the oil and gas sector. This wealth will be used to invest in the various projects and various sectors of Ghana. With regard to this, how can you assure not only young people but Guyanese of accountability and transparency?
It's a very important question, especially with the resources from oil and gas. And many persons are asking, how do we ensure that this wealth is managed in a transparent manner and in an accountable manner? First of all, we have to ensure that the Audit Office of Guyana, that they are empowered, that they are equipped, that they are ready with the necessary training to function in this new environment. We have to ensure that our financial regulations, our laws are updated to function in this environment also, to be effective in this environment. But importantly, we have to ensure that politicians have what I describe as an arm's length relationship in terms of the use of the funds, in terms of the management of the funds. As is now, if you look at the way it is structured now, the Minister of Finance and the Minister of Natural Resources are directly involved in all aspects of the management. So we have to correct this by ensuring that whether we have, we will have a fund, we will also have the various acts that govern the use of the resources, how we save for future generations, and where we invest resources. And that has to be done by technically qualified persons in an open manner, in a transparent manner. For example, future oil blocks must go out to public bids so that the public is kept abreast with what is going on. And importantly, we have to criminalize certain actions, like the non-disclosure of revenue from the oil and gas sector, like we saw with the $18 million US. That actions like those has to be criminalized. There must be strong sanctions and strong action that will be applied for actions like those and behavior like those. Those are some of the things that would build trust, with enhanced transparency, and of course, we'll be doing this with the help of international partners and specialists that would help us to build the right systems to manage this new wealth, and not only the new wealth, but to manage every aspect of our country and economy in the future.
Well, thank you, Mr. Ali, for sharing your views here with us today. I'm sure your sagacious and eloquent words will reach out to those youths in Guyana and to the general public as well.
Well, let me say this to you. This is not only words, but this is a vision. And this is a vision for all of Guyana. We are all in this together. Together we are stronger. And this is a vision that will be implemented. We are not a party that believes in false promises or promises to win electoral votes. We believe in setting out a vision and a roadmap to development and a pathway that all Guyanese must be included and feel a part of. And that is why we have embarked on a system of developing our manifesto, where we included the views of all stakeholders. We had wide consultations so that all of us must see this document, must take ownership of this document and be part of this future together. So thank you very much, and I look forward to working with all of you and all young people of Guyana and all Guyanese on this great road of building a stronger Guyana together. Thank you very much.
Thank you.